Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
From the whispers in the static to the voices beyond the veil, the search for answers begins here. Welcome to EVP Explorations, the show that takes you deep into the world of electronic voice phenomenon. Every Thursday night, we push the boundaries of the unknown, blending today's cutting-edge technology with the tried and true methods of the past. Join your host, Todd Bates, as he uncovers mysterious voices, analyzes real EVP recordings, and explores the techniques investigators use to bridge the gap between the living and the beyond. Are you ready to listen? EVP Exploration starts now.
And a good evening, one and all. Here we are once again. My goodness, EVP Explorations live right here on the Sacred Spiral Network. My goodness, we've got an exciting show for you tonight. Stanley Jolet is with us here this evening, the Cajun Ghost Hunter himself. We're going to be playing some examples, some of his samples. Some of these are going to be absolutely amazing, folks. Amazing. You are going to love them. There are just so much going on here tonight and so much going on with EVP Explorations. You guys are freaking amazing with your feedback, with you. I'm seeing some critical thinking out there now on our discussion groups. This is some fantastic information. You guys are coming to the website, evpexplorations.com. You are checking out those courses. You're signing up for them. You're taking them. I was looking at the stats today, and I didn't have time to tell Sherry this today. It's just been so crazy, folks. But I was looking at the stats today. The average visit on the website is over 2.5 hours. You guys are sitting there. You're taking those courses, and I could cry. Use it. Get the hell out there and use it. Damn. Use it. Now, okay. We're getting there. Oh, those are happy tears, folks. They're happy tears, I promise. Happy tears. Happy tears. Now, back to the show. Holy cow. Thank you all for the very, very amazing support. Thank you. But we have got an amazing show. Stanley Jolet's with us here this evening. We are going to be going over some EVP ITC, back to old school. We're going to touch with some new school. We want your questions. We want your comments, folks. Get them in there tonight. Drop them right down in there. Be a part of this conversation. It is important to get this out and to learn it and to grasp it. Don't just hop up out of your recliner and I'm going to go chase ghosts now. It doesn't work that way, folks. Get educated. It's worth it, I promise. I promise. Now, other than the website, there's all kinds of cool projects that I'm doing here that I want to get out to you fine folks. I know that I have been scarce lately on social media and putting some posts up and things like that. I do apologize for that, but yet I've been busy. There's been a lot of cool projects in the works, and you know, people just come to you in this world for a reason. And it's great working with these people, learning a lot of new things and learning a lot of other things on the way too. But so just hang tight. I'll get things caught up here. I mean, I first things first, we've got some Sherry time, and we have got Sherry and I want to get this out there before we cut the break here real quick. But Sherry and I are going to be going to a wonderfully beautiful wedding this Saturday. Now, Sherry and I don't get out much. We really don't. We really don't. But this is special. Co-worker, great friends of ours, Nick and Bailey, they're getting married on Saturday, and we're going to go to that wedding. It's going to be so amazing, folks. It's going to be amazing. I'll take a shower that day. Anyway, It happens. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a fun time. Let's get some hellos out there real quick here. You guys had time to trickle in and all this good stuff so we can get rolling. That's what's fun. Hello to my Sherry, of course. I love you, baby. And of course, Sandy. How are you, Sandy? We are still loving that beautiful cardinal she made, by the way. My goodness. I wish I had that with me. I should have brought that in here tonight. Oh, I love that. It's fun times. And I got new bulbs ordered too, Sandy. They're on the way. She already went through the bulbs. And of course, Mr. John Swinky, how are you, my friend? How are you? Bonnie, great to see you. Great to see you, Bonnie. My goodness. Paranormal cyclist. Hey, how are you? Welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show. And Stanley, of course, in the house. The show can begin with Stanley and John here. And of course, Mr. Daryl Stevens. How are you, Daryl? Great to see you, my friend. And Chris Stant, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. Now, there's so many. Hi, Belinda. So many of you fine folks take time out of your busy schedule to tune into the show. Excuse me. I'm so glad you do so. Hopefully you gain some knowledge from this, and you can find all the past shows, everything you need right there on the website, evpexplorations.com, folks. You can watch all the past shows right there from start to finish. And those that are coming, you can go over there and screw up and learn something. Tell your friends about it too. Share the thing. It's free. It's all free. Good stuff. Fun stuff is always free. I don't know. Free makes me feel good. It's just free. But speaking of that, what we're going to do, we're going to take a short break here. We come back. Mr. Stanley Jolet's going to be joining us here. You guys stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. More EVP Explorations on the way. We'll be right back.
Introducing The Haunted Voice by Todd Bates, a powerful autobiography that takes you on an unforgettable journey through life's darkest struggles and most hopeful triumphs. From working as a corrections officer to finding himself behind bars, Todd's story dives deep into the battle against alcoholism and addiction, revealing the raw, unfiltered truths of hitting rock bottom. But this is not just a story of despair. It's a story of redemption, recovery, and hope. As a seasoned paranormal investigator and EVP specialist, Todd also opens the door to his chilling experiences with the supernatural, weaving together tales of the paranormal with deeply personal revelations. The Haunted Voice isn't just a book, it's a lifeline for those seeking recovery, a guide for those facing their own demons, and a treasure for paranormal enthusiasts. Available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Apple Books, The Haunted Voice makes the perfect gift for anyone looking for inspiration, guidance, or simply an incredible story. Order your copy today and discover the voice that refuses to be silenced.
Seven minutes past the hour. Don't worry, we made it back. EVP Explorations Live. Those of you just joining us here, don't worry if you missed the first part. Everything's being archived for you. Catch everything on the website right over there at evpexplorations.com. We've got a phenomenal show, a wonderful guest. Tonight, folks, I'm especially excited to welcome a truly extraordinary guest, audio expert and seasoned paranormal investigator, Stanley Jolet. Now, Stanley is the author of Paranormal Investigations, the Cajun Ghost Hunter Chronicles, and brings a unique blend of scientific knowledge and personal passion to the field. Born and raised in Along Bayou, I'm going to mispronounce this, Tiburon in Houma, Louisiana. He's probably cracking up right now. He holds a bachelor's in chemistry from LSU and spent 44 years as a professional chemist, specializing in trace metals and quantum mechanics. Yeah, let that sink in, folks. Using light-based analytical methods. Yeah. Talk about some critical thinking, like we were talking about earlier. His journey into the paranormal began in 2011 following the passing of his mother, which sparked a deeply personal quest to connect with her through EVP and ITC. Now, drawing from his background in analyzing light waves, Stanley transitioned into audio waveform analysis with ease, utilizing tools like Audacity to uncover voices from beyond the veil. Wow. And without further ado, Mr. Stanley Jolet, welcome to the show, Stanley, my old friend. It's great to see you.
Good seeing you too, Todd.
Hey, I'm sorry I butchered your location. Tell everybody how you properly pronounce that, sir.
It's Terrebonne. Terra's earth, bone means good, so it's good earth.
Yes, sir, it is. And I apologize for that.
That's okay.
It's one of those brain twisters. No, but
it's one of those Cajun names.
Hey, you and I go way back. I mean, my goodness, our history is we have known each other for so long. And there's we've watched each other grow and develop over the years. And the first thing I wanted to discuss with you, first and foremost is the community. Right now it's at a weird state. Now, what's your take on it, Stanley? From when you and I were really kicking in the dirt and out in the field and kicking all kinds of good stuff compared to, let's say,
right
now.
Well,
how's it evolved or unevolved?
Well, these apps have come out. A lot of apps started coming out after we first started, started interviewing me years ago. And there was a community there of people that were, the old ghost boxers, that followed Frank Sumption and the ghost box makers. And then they saw these people coming out with these apps, putting, audio bits in there into the software, for spirits to draw from, like EchoVox. And
right.
There were some other apps that came out after that. And these people, I'm not going to mention any names, but there are other people that were making spirit boxes too that had apps involved with them. And they just destroyed the community at the time because people were at each other's throats instead of moving forward and progressing with their applications, and it really changed the field back then. And I think that, now they're just starting to recover from it because of the fact that, a lot of people are interested in it. And with people like you that are out there putting, these tutorials together on how to get started and doing it. So it's going to be drawing in a lot more people that, that have a background that's suitable for this field. And they might be mediums, they might be scientists, but at least it's coming from the fringe into, normal society instead of paranormal society.
Thank you so much for that. And I couldn't agree more, my friend. I mean, there's so much to discuss. And like I told you before we came on, I said, Stanley, they're going to put you and I together, and you and I go way back, and it's going to be about 2 hours, folks. I'm just telling you here publicly, it's going to be about 2 hours before we get this done, because there's so many things that someone like Stanley, folks, him and I, we don't get much time to sit down and talk like we are now. And it's hard to, get together like we do and pick each other's brains, because your work is just absolutely fantastic. It's amazing. And we're going to air some of that tonight for you folks as well, so you can see for yourself. But getting into this, Stanley, let's shift some gears. Getting in, we understand, of course, wholeheartedly. I'm very sorry for your loss. I lost my parents as well, and I would love to communicate with them on the other side. There would be nothing more in this world, a closure, if you will. I've been seeking that myself, and I'm curious as to your luck with that. And I wish you nothing Godspeed on that as well. I mean, that's tough.
Well, I mean, my mother died 14 years ago, actually 15 years ago. So I've really gotten over it. But the thing is that with my ghost box, my RT EVP recorder made by Gary Galka, that's when I first went out with it, and I would go to her tomb every Saturday. And then after that, I would go to Laurel Valley Plantation, which is the longest operating sugarcane plantation in America.
Wow.
Okay, and it's still operating. And they have a museum out there that it's a slave quarters, and there's old slave houses out there. So I would go first to my mother's tomb, and I would record there on Saturday afternoons. My wife had to work, so I had to do something with myself. So I would do that. I would go to my mother's tomb. Then after that, I would go 4 miles down the road to Laurel Valley Plantation and record there. And I did it for probably like almost a year. Okay. So when you go frequently and you establish yourself in that environment, okay, what are the odds of capturing something eventually? But I started capturing it like left and right, you know, and it really freaked me out because I became addicted to it.
Yeah.
I really did.
I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah. And the more you do it, the more, like I said, the more you're going to start getting those captures. And not only that, but the captures will start freaking you out because they'll start communicating with you and telling you stuff on, you know, based on the questions that you ask that are just so relevant to yourself that you can say, oh, this is my mom, or this is my dad, or they're talking about my mom and dad, you know. But that's with I did both, you know, I did both EVP and ITC, because that RT EVP recorder by Gary Galka, you have two modes. You can either press record and just do pure EVP, or you can put it in the mode where it's doing radio sweep and sweeping at like 50 milliseconds, you know. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah. And the thing is that really and truly, because that microphone picks up at 15 hertz, you don't know really and truly if that voice is really ITC or EVP.
You get the best of both worlds.
Like that recording I sent you from my about my brother-in-law. I had given him. I had two EVP recorders. I gave one to him, and we were at Melodia Plantation, which is 10 miles from Laurel Valley, and I let him go off and record by himself. And I didn't realize until I got home and processed what he was recording by himself. I was like 100 yards away from him. Okay. And then I realized, oh, heck, he's having a conversation with the spirit here. I mean, he's talking to him like the spirit's talking to him, calling out his name. He's calling back to him, and they start having a conversation. I'm going, what's going on here? You know, is this EVP or is it ITC? You know?
See, that's what's crazy is with the device. And what's the name of that device again?
That's an RT EVP recorder. RT-EVP. I forgot the name of his company, but it's the same company that makes the PSB-7. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And he's been on Ghost Adventures, and his daughter Melissa had died in a car accident, and that's what got him. He being an engineer, that's why he developed this RT EVP recorder. But it has so many functions on it. And, you know, I mean, I'm a scientist, so I just read the manual and I can get into it really easy, okay? But most people can't, you know, adjust the parameters on it and do the recordings with it and upload it to Audacity or their favorite wave program in order to analyze it. So he took it off the market because people couldn't understand how to use it properly. And I've even gone out on Amazon and seen, a used recorder somebody would sell for up to $2,000. But I looked recently, and somebody was selling them for like $200 to $300. So it just depends on who's selling what out there.
Absolutely, it depends on the bid. It depends on the model number, of course. The RRD R60s are insane. We all know that. And before we get any further here, Bonnie's got a quick question. Could you define ITC? I thought it was visual, and that is good question. Go ahead, Stanley.
It's instrumental transcommunication, so it depends on the instrument. Whether it takes video with with audio overlaid on top of it while you're taking the video, or it's video itself. So it's instrumental and it's transcommunication, meaning it's between dimensions. Like, they're right there around you anyway. I mean, you see, yeah, exactly. I mean,
Went right through it.
You can go to the haunted location, or you can get on the video like this with Todd right now, and I'll start recording Todd right now and try to contact his parents. I've had people that go ahead and I ask them, tell me something about your mom, what she likes, what she dislikes, who her favorite kid was, what kind of flowers she likes and whatnot. And I'll do a recording from my home, and I will capture the essence of the spirit giving me answers to my questions as I ask them through the device.
Freaking incredible. That is incredible. And just like Stanley's saying here, there are spirits everywhere. And I couldn't agree more. And Stanley, you woke me up to a lot of that. So I follow your posts on Facebook. I poke around. And the things you put out there bring me back to when I first got into this, going out there hot and heavy and getting some of these great captures like you do. But most importantly, the spiritual side of it. There is a spiritual side to this. And folks, Stanley, I know, and folks, I was all skeptical back in the day about the woo-woo. Trust me, didn't go for the woo-woo. But I'm telling you something. I'm sitting here telling you something. This woo-woo is no woo-woo. It's a wham-wham, and it does make a difference. You just have to, you have to understand it to figure it out, how the two interchange. But mixing the two, Stanley, do you feel that yields better results? When you're out there recording and all these different locations you've done all these years, do you think maybe you're sensitive and they're a conduit and go through you? Or do you think somehow spirit just comes through and imprints on there? How do you feel all this works?
It's we're all spirit, okay? I mean, in Hinduism, it's called the Atman, okay? And it's like you have your ego and your little self, your soul, and there's a witness there, the substratum of what's actually behind us, okay? And that's God, and God is in you, okay? So you're a part of the spirit world already. So you just need to tap into that, okay? And the ascended yogi masters of India, okay, like Paramahansa Yogananda, he recognized that it's called the astral plane, and that's where the spirits reside, okay? Yep. So
through the astral plane,
through intense meditation, you can actually tap into that meditation and to that astral plane, okay, and actually talk to spirits. You can talk to God. They actually did. They have Indian saints that actually say, I've talked to God, I've seen God, by intense meditation. Okay.
Incredible.
So I'll tell you this. My mentor back in the early days when I started doing this was Dr. Dave Oster. He was the head president of the International Ghost Hunter Society.
I remember Dave.
Okay, well, he would post something every Saturday, okay, from the IGHS, International Ghost Hunter Society, and I'd save them on my email, okay. And his wife's, she was involved too. I forgot her name, but he always said when you record, to go ahead and not only record the forward speech, but in your programs, reverse the speech. Because usually you get an intelligent response if you reverse the speech also. But I found that not only is it also intelligent, but it's related to the forward speech.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir.
So I know you've seen my post. I'll just go ahead and I'll copy and paste the reverse speech, put it next to the forward speech, and make a capture like that. And you hear his voice going over, like 5 or 6 seconds. saying these things, and you go on, oh my God, and Dave
Mind
Oster,
blowing.
he said he never captured anything related to religion, Jesus, or God in his thousands of captures that he's had posted over the years.
Right.
That's his soul. He's deceased now.
Sure.
But me, I go out there and I get all of these religious captures from these spirits, but ITC, and I took all my captures one time, and I made a video, and it spans like 5 minutes, okay, of Jesus, Mary, angels, talking to me like that. And it's like, and it's not radio broadcast, because
sure,
you don't have,
that,
good
luck with that broadcast.
Exactly. Except down here in South Louisiana, I mean, they have a lot of Baptist stations, Catholic stations broadcasting,
but still, I mean, the rarity of that is incredible. And capturing these and going through these different methods, there's a lot of folks here watching. Yeah, we're going to skip off to a quick break again, but there's a lot of folks watching that are getting into this for the first time.
Right.
They're not familiar with ITC grounds, and with EVP Explorations, of course, it focuses on electronic voice phenomenon, but as the show's base, communication is communication, period.
Right.
And that's why we must discuss all aspects, because the two are married. They're not really separate. They're just different things. They're very, 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 very much married, and I believe happily married as well too, Stanley. The two.
Well, with my ITC, my RT EVP recorder, when it's doing the radio sweep scan, it's scanning at 50 milliseconds, which means it's going over 20 radio stations a second. Okay.
Damn.
So if you get a 5-second response, you've gone over 100 radio stations, and there's just one voice that's, talking over that 1 second. Now, if you get, over 5 seconds, the 100 stations, oh my God, it's got to be paranormal, because it's only one voice, but it's going over 20 radio stations.
That's unbelievable. See, that's unbelievable. I mean, think about that, folks. And if you need to, if you're watching this again, rewind that, listen to it again, because this is the information that's being putting out there for us. People are getting this information. Stanley's figuring things out. It's a matter of putting 2 and 2 together to solve some of these mysteries. Well, one day we'll find out. We'll see what happens. But till then, we're going to take a quick break. We come back more with our guest, Stanley Jolet, and we're going to get into some of these examples coming up here as well. We're going to be playing some of those for you fine folks. So stay tuned. More EVP Explorations coming up. Are you fascinated by the unknown? Curious about the voices that seem to echo from beyond? Then EVP Explorations is your gateway to the world of electronic voice phenomena. At EVPExplorations.com, you'll find a full library of completely free resources to guide you on your paranormal journey. From in-depth courses on EVP recording and analysis to step-by-step guides on choosing the right equipment and capturing authentic spirit voices. Our content is designed for both beginners and seasoned investigators alike. And yes, everything is free of charge. No sign-up fees, no premium paywalls, just open access to real knowledge, real tools, and real community. Join us every Thursday night for our live show where we explore real investigations, share evidence, and dive deep into the science and mystery of the spirit world. EVP Explorations, where passion meets the paranormal. The voices are out there, and it's time to listen. Visit EVPExplorations.com and start your journey today. Bottom of the hour. Welcome back. EVP Explorations live right here on Sacred Spiral Network, folks. Those of you just trickling in, hello to you. Welcome on this awesome Thursday, May the 15th already. Holy cow, this year's flown by, Stanley. Our guest this evening, Stanley Jolet. We're discussing EVP and ITC and getting down to some basics too. We got a lot of folks here tuning in here. Got a couple questions here right off the bat for you, Stanley. One of them is asking, what is the difference between EMF and EVP?
EMF, that's electromagnetic forces. And so actually the spirits are using electromagnetic forces in all of your different instruments that you're going to use to capture EVP. Okay. And I've noticed this is that, like if you use a camera to try to capture disembodied voices, when you turn on that camera, that's usually when, for some reason, the energy that turns on the camera, the spirits will take that energy and they'll actually, you can actually hear a voice that might come on right when you turn on your camera. That's why I always tell everybody, if you're doing video, look for that audio, listen for that audio.
Sure.
When you're looking at your video, listen for that audio, because you might hear a voice that is nobody around you and they're talking to you and you're going, wow, where did that come from?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And, evidence can be captured, and that's, they're filming, so they're more concerned about the visuals than they are what's
Right.
inside. And what's inside, I mean, I still have it's right there behind me, the old high 8, the magnetic tape. The beast still runs. It still works. I mean, the tapes are expensive, but it's a nice little camera. And the audio, it captured 2 voices for me one night. They were very clear. I've got or had it in a tote. It's amazing how those video cameras can work how it all comes together. What brings it there? Like you said, is it you standing out above? Is it you coming? Is it spirit coming through you? Is it magnetics? Is it static energy? Is it some kind of low end DC current? There's so many variables, and I'm a simple man trying to figure this out, Stanley. And you, sir, have far more answers than I would as far as what it could be. What do you think this could be? What could be causing these voices?
It's energy. I mean, energy manifests itself in various ways. I mean, look at your eyes. Whatever you're looking at right now, it's photons. A massless particle of energy is hitting your retina right now. You're making an image. It's upside down. Your brain makes it right side up, and you perceive it. But it's massless. There's no mass to it. So you're actually looking at objects by a communication, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it has no mass to it. It's not an object. It's just a photon, okay? So these energies, you can't really define how they do it, how they put that imprint on our devices, because like I gave you an example, I sent you an example where the spirit says one thing, I can say the same thing in that same instrument, upload it, and do the reverse speech. The original reverse speech of the spirit will come out and be intelligent. But when you reverse my speech saying the same exact thing, it's gibberish.
It's gibberish.
That defies the laws of physics.
It
the
does.
waveform's the same, and the reverse of it's just a mirror image. And I'm gibberish, but the spirit's saying something intelligent. Now, how do you define that? How can you say? How can anybody really say why or how that occurs?
You can't.
You can't.
You
It's just one of
simply
those
can't.
mysteries.
It is a mystery, and that is exactly what it is. And it's I think it's one of those that's going to remain locked tight until we're ready to see it. And when we're ready to see it, we'll be, away from here.
Right. Well,
We won't even worry
there's this Indian saint, Sri Ramakrishna, and he said that a 1 seer pot can only hold 1 seer of water. It can't hold 4 seers of water. That means there's more out there that you just can't contain. You can't
And you can't process it.
You can't process it and figure
We
it
can't process it. Our brains are too, and I don't know why. And that's a whole new show with you, Stanley. Is why our brains are so limited. Is what they are. What we only use like 10% of them. Really, the average person
out.
uses
Right.
like 10 or 15% of their brain. I mean, who knows what else we could do with telepathy? I mean, who knows? It may just be a brain switch we need to flip on or something that we have tuned out, or
Right.
maybe
Right.
the government's doing it.
Watch those chemtrails.
Watch out, folks. Now, paranormal cyclist, he's got a question here. He said, I've heard about IDC devices. He's just throwing that out there. With these different devices and so forth, getting into that, one thing I wanted to talk about was people just getting into, let's say, the EVP ITC field. You know, in your opinion, what are some essentials that they need to get going, such as recorders or microphones? What are some good ones? Computer and software. What kind of things would they need to kind of say, hey, what would you do? Everybody does it different, Stanley. What do you use?
I've actually used tablets and put EchoVox on there, and made sure that I could upload the files, okay, that are recorded, and bring it into Audacity. Okay, so whatever device you get, just make sure that you can upload. There's an attachment, there's a port where you can interface it with the computer so that you can bring it into a wave processing program. And not only that, but when you do that, use as many features as you can to lower the noise, okay, of the capture, whatever you have. And not only that, but make sure that you go to that baseline of the recording, because you can there's something there, it might be hidden there, and if you can find it, and it might be just a ripple, but if you can amplify it and clean it up, you're going to find voices down there. I used to do that with EchoVox all the time. I mean, it's speech, snippets of speech that are put together, okay, whenever you are doing a recording with it. But the baseline of it, the noise at that baseline, sometimes the voices are talking down there, but you don't hear it when you first are processing it.
Right.
But go through it, and when you find those blips, those little blips, go ahead and expand it, magnify it, and go to that noise baseline.
A signal is a signal.
A signal's a signal, exactly.
You know, and some of those do come in on the lower spectrum and so forth. The higher spectrum, it varies. And it is. Right. It's a matter of finding them and processing them correctly, not, of course, over processing them.
Take your time. Take your time. You know,
it's worth taking your time. But you know, and to play devil's advocate, what do you say, Stanley, about those folks that talk about, oh, it's all pareidolia, every bit of it. You're matrixing. Your mind's playing tricks on itself because it can only process one thing. What do you tell people whenever they throw that at you?
Well, like we discussed earlier, when I have a recorder going on and it's sweeping radio sweep at 50 milliseconds, and I know it's 50 milliseconds because that's built into the software of that recorder, and I'm getting a 5-second response sweeping over 100 stations. That's not pareidolia, folks. That's the spirit talking to you.
Yes,
and
sir.
When they actually respond to your questions in real time, then you're going, well, pareidolia is not going to answer my questions, you know.
And that is what is so motivating about EVP, about the just you know, communication in general with spirit. Are those real-time conversations, and that are becoming much more profound, much more prominent too, much more obtainable real-time conversations than what used to be. Now,
right, like Staticom 3.0 by Tony Rathman. Oh, that's amazing.
Geez, Tony is, holy cow, that's a whole new level. And it's a lot to swallow. You know, do you think the not just the public, do you think the community's ready for something like that? Do you think we're ready? Do you think we're ready for that kind
I
of?
think we're way past it, because I mean,
Good.
there was Dr. Gary Schwartz, and this is like 5 to 10 years ago, and he was doing research at I think it was University of Arizona or Arizona State, one of the two. But he was doing these intricate experiments where he would use a photomultiplier tube. A photomultiplier tube for metals analysis actually is it's a photoelectric device where if a photon hits it, it registers the photon's energy. Okay, and he would be sitting in there, and he would have these photo multiplier tubes in a separate room from a medium, okay? And the medium would be asking questions, and he would be recording photons hitting his photo multiplier tube. Now, what kind of communication is that? You know, I mean, and that was, I mean, this was college research, okay?
Yeah.
And it's like, what good is that? You know, how about we get some recording out there and record some voices, you know, like Sarah Estep would do, you know?
Oh, God bless her soul. She's a sweetheart. I miss her. My goodness. Absolutely. You know, go above and beyond. Get out there, do the legwork, and do it consistently. I mean, I retired from it, folks, and I'm getting back out there because it's drawing me back out there.
You have a lot of unanswered questions, my friend.
Oh my goodness, do I ever, Stanley? And I'm going to go out there like a sponge. And oh yeah. Oh, my first stop, Ashmore Estates, of all places. That's where we're going there, June 29th. And
I have this aspiration. I want to drive up to Vicksburg, and they have a battlefield there, okay, from the Civil War. And I've never recorded in the Civil War graveyard. And so that's one of my things on my bucket list. Since I've retired, I'm going to go spend a weekend up there and record.
Well, let's see. Yeah, you know, when you get close to doing that, because Gettysburg's on my bucket list as well. So
really?
we need to do some kind of team effort up there and just go up there and kick some ass, Stanley, and see what we can find together. I think that'd be a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
That's something that's doable. That's obtainable. We'll figure that one out. That'd be a lot of fun though, because it's on my bucket list too to get up there because of all the rich history and so forth. But down south, it's just the same. Before we get into some of these recordings, I know, folks, it's all part of the show to drag them out. That's what we have to do. Just until the last break, and then we're clear. But
yeah, well, look, here along South Louisiana, along all the bayous, it's a sugarcane country. Okay, there's still sugarcane, but there's only a couple of mills now down here. But in the old days, the plantations were built along the bayous because that was the means of transportation for hauling the cane, to market, to have it processed. Okay, actually, the front of the houses was always facing the bayou. The road coming from town was actually meeting the back of the houses. Okay, the plantation houses. So all along these bayous, there were nothing but plantations next to each other, and these plantations had slave quarters. Most of them, if not all of them, okay? So all along the bayous down here, you're going to be able to record spirits, whether it's from the Civil War, because there were a lot of Civil War encampments down here, or you're going to be recording from, events that happen along that, at that plantation. I mean, these are, hundreds and thousands.
Wow, yeah, way
land,
back. Yeah, that's huge, massive pieces of property. That's ginormous. The possibilities. I mean, back in history, the slaves that were working the fields down here, their masters would, after the season was over and the harvesting was over, there was a different season for cotton. And they would actually ship their slaves up north to people up there to use their slaves to harvest the cotton, so that they would have some sort of like year-round,
vocations for the slave. Not vocations. I mean, they were slaves. Poor people.
Yeah, it's
And
terrible.
they were abused, and that's like Woodland Plantation down in Point Alahash, Louisiana. They talk about the Myrtles here in Louisiana being the most haunted house in America. The Myrtles Plantation.
Sure. Yeah,
Heard of that.
let's go ahead. Yes, this is going to be great.
Woodland Plantation. It used to have a dormitory down there, 4 dormitories. Jean Lafitte the pirate used to go out in the Gulf and raid the slave ships, come up Grand Bayou, and come to the Woodland Plantation and deposit the stolen slaves there for keeping. Okay, the owner of the plantation, we would take the slaves to New Orleans and auction them off. That's why that I sent you that clip, that capture. Come see that. That's from Woodland Plantation. Oh my God, Todd! I have captures. I had used multiple devices. I had gone into the overseer's house. The overseer was the one that watched over the slaves for the masters that had businesses, and they didn't operate the plantation. He was the one that took care of the slaves. When I went into the owner, the present owner had redone the overseer's house where this overseer lived. And I went in there and I recorded with multiple devices, and I put it all in one video, okay, of these voices that I captured from slaves that were abused by this overseer named Decker. And they say his name over and over again in this video that I made. I'm going to post it on the website. And it's just horrifying listening to them cursing about Decker, you know. And that's what I'm saying is along here, along South Louisiana, you can go around these plantations and you're going to pick up all sorts of voices because of the imprints that their lives left there from being abused.
Yes. And it's imprinted forever. You know, it's there. A lot of that's there forever. You can't fight fate, folks. That's how it goes. Stanley's commenting here, folks. I've had my name said probably 30 times during investigations over the years, and Stanley will tell you that our name is not a common name. I tell skeptics, explain that. Absolutely.
My AKA name is Stanley Robleski. Okay. There's this place right near my house here, 2 miles from here, called Devil's Swamp Road. Okay. Now, there's all sorts of stories about Devil's Swamp Road. And so I went out there one day and I recorded, okay? I was recording by the railroad tracks on this road. And don't you know that a voice came on and I asked them, what is my name? And they said, clear as could be, you're Stanley Robleski. And I'm there going, whoa. Yeah, I'll post that on the website too.
Yeah, please do, sir. Please do, because find that on a radio station, folks.
Right.
See, these are the little pieces that we need to help with this puzzle. And Stanley's, name is extremely difficult to pronounce. But you know what? And to have it come through, it's not a common.
I have another recording I did after. It was during a thunderstorm one day. I was in my bedroom. My son was in his room. Okay. And I asked Spirit, I said, what's that boy's name on the other side of the house? And they came on and they said, that's Philip Robleski. And I'm there going, oh my goodness. I'll post that one too. I mean, that's just evidence that they're there and they are intelligent,
Stanley says it gets personal when they throw out your last name, Stanley. It's getting personal. It's getting personal. Well, and before we take this last break into some clips, that's one of the big things is having a lot of these things, folks, are personal experiences. Sometimes,
exactly.
Sometimes, and don't ask me how this is possible, folks, but it is. Sometimes you will hear something, and others will hear something different. But you can sit here and convince yourself and swear to yourself, this is what it says. And if that's what it says to you, so be it. Don't worry about labels. Don't worry about people saying, well, don't suggest anything. Why not help them? This stuff's hard. It's hard for a layman without a trained ear to hear a lot of these captures. It's difficult. So those kinds of things do assist. They do help, folks. They really do. So stay tuned. We're going to take this last break. We come back. We're going to play some clips that Stanley has. You guys are going to be blown away. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Stay tuned. More EVP Explorations coming at you.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the extraordinary is just a click away. Dare to discover.
Hey, nearing the top of the hour here, folks. EVP Explorations live here on the Sacred Spiral Network. Our guest this evening, Stanley Jolet. We're talking EVP ITC. Holy cow. If you missed the first half of this show, you missed some great information. This man is a wealth of it. He has proven that time and time again. And his work is, it's just a breath of fresh air. It's good to get out in the field, folks. It's good. It's a good thing to do the legwork. It's a good thing to be patient and go through your audio in the rawest format possible, to take the time and patience to do that. If you truly love this as a hobby or even a career, even better, if you're doing this as a career, take your time. Go through the little things. If you hear something, just like Stanley said, zoom in on the thing. You don't know what that could be. Listen to it, analyze it, try it. A signal is a signal. That may be their last stretch of hope for communication right there, and you're missing it. Now, I'm not saying manipulate the hell out of it and make something of it by any stretch of the imagination, but my goodness, pay attention to those things. Pay attention to those Class C's as well. They're just a little weaker, that's all. You know, there's so many things, Stanley, that you can put out there, and we can only hope that there is something after. I think I've proven it to myself. There is. I'm sure you have as well. I know there's something other than this planet, this whatever. There's plenty out there. There's a whole new universe out there. There's transition out there, and you know, to get him a little weirder, folks, I think, you know, maybe we get a couple chances in life. Maybe we bounce back as something else. You never know. You know, you never know. I don't know what animates us. And until I figure out what animates us, I'm going to have all kinds of questions. And that's the fun part of this field, Stanley. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everybody has those questions in them, you know, that they have to have answered in this lifetime. And if you're Hindu, if it doesn't happen in this lifetime, you're going to be reincarnated. Okay. So what you got to do is do the best that you can in this lifetime right now. Mm-hmm. Okay. And if you start trying, like in my book, I said that at first it started out where I wanted to talk to my mother. It ended up becoming a spiritual journey for me. Okay. And then after I had all of this proof of the afterlife, and I knew that she was in a better place. Okay. In Hinduism, it's called the Pitralokas. It's the heaven of the ancestors. And that's where most people want to go. They miss their mother, they miss their father, they miss their aunts, their uncles, the people that love them. When you die, you want to go with them and have some fun, you know?
Yeah.
Be redeemed, you know, and that's what it's all about. And you could do it in this life. The Hindus learned that. You know, there was a saying like, you go to a Hindu and you through meditation you become self-realized and go, hey, I have a soul, and a Hindu will tell you, well, that's good because we learned that when I was a child. You know, welcome, welcome,
Welcome.
I
Whoa.
was philosophy, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, there's all kinds of rabbit holes you can go back and forth into as well with this entire thought process, Stanley. And
Right.
you know, at the end of the day, it comes down to common sense and respect, right? I mean, at the end of the day,
Right.
it comes down to just those two elements to properly conduct a good EVP session. Maybe not a great one with just those two. You need a little more.
Not only that, but I'm going to tell you something. Protect yourself, because
Yes,
you
sir.
might go to places where, you know, there's going to be some bad spirits because they were bad people. A bad person, just because he died, doesn't mean he's going to be an angel. Okay. And
Right.
I can remember that I had my internist. He was a friend of the family's, actually. My best friend's brother, he became an internist. Okay. And he was my personal doctor. And it was about 5-6 years ago. He actually died from cancer a couple of years ago.
Oh,
But
man.
I went into his office and I brought him a copy of my book. And you know what he did? He took the book from me. He reached into his pocket. Now, this was a devout Catholic, okay? And he gave me a blessed, a Saint Benedict's cross that was blessed by a priest. And he goes, here, use this to protect yourself.
Wow.
Yes. Now, listen, I put it on my keychain, okay? And one day, my brother-in-law and I, we went down the road, okay, to this. It's called Deadwood Swamp, okay? There was
Mhm.
a church on Deadwood Swamp where there was some graves, and we went there to record, okay? All of a sudden, when I was getting ready to record, something took over my ego. Something took over my mind. I could not record. I was there. I'm there, Harold. I can't do anything. I go, we need to get out of here. I got into my car. I said, Harold, can you drive? He goes, no, I can't drive either. He was being taken over too by whatever this entity was. Okay. I started the car and I had my hand on my keychain. I had that cross in my hand. I don't know how I got us home, but I did. And that was that. I never went to record at that graveyard. I had recorded there a couple of times already. Okay.
Wow.
What happened there that time actually tried to possess me. It took over me. It tried to take over my ego.
Mhm.
And that spiritual cross that I had on my keychain protected me and helped me to get myself home.
Like I said earlier, you cannot fight fate, my friend. You cannot fight fate. That, folks, right there. I mean, come on. I mean, it's come on.
I always leave a
Open the
blessing
mind
wherever
just a
I
little.
go and
Trust me,
record.
it's worth it.
My last words are, God bless this place.
Mhm. That's mind blowing. That's mind blowing right there. Now, you know, to have those, wow. That's crazy.
Well, you're getting
Stanley.
ready. If you play the one where we're more than spirits, there's another story behind that one too.
All right, I've got now. What we've got here, folks. We're going to get right into this. Here it is. It's top of the hour. It's time. It's time now. Now I've got all kinds of files loaded up here, Stanley, and these are some amazing. Now, my practice on the show, folks, and Stanley as well, is I am hearing these for the first time as well. I do that so I have the same reaction as you folks do when you hear this. I simply loaded these into the studio. I didn't hear anything. There was no audio. So I'm going to hear these for the first time as well. And I like to do that so, you know, I'm there alongside with you. I'm there alongside with you. And if some of these we play, if you need us to replay them, just say, hey, could you replay that? We'll get it replayed for you. And then there's comments, of course. We definitely love to hear opinions. I know Stanley welcomes them as well. He always has, on what you guys think it says. If it says something different, perhaps let us know. I mean, like we talked about, everybody's hearing is different. Some people aren't in tune to they don't have a trained ear to these. They hear gibberish, perhaps, maybe. But open your mind. Just relax. Take a deep breath. We're going to play some of these. We're going to play all of these tonight, folks. I mean, it's going to be a 2-hour show, easy. We're going to play these. So drop your feedback in the comments and let us know. Let us know what you think of these here, Stanley. Now, the first file we've got here is one called Jeremy. There's 2 of them that we have. You want to go ahead and explain this one before we air it?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
This one happened on June the 10th, 2013. This was after I had first published my book, okay? And my niece, Susan, she was requesting I go to her house that she was moving into in New Orleans on 5226 Perrier Street. And she wanted me to perform an investigation and to do a house cleansing. Now, I actually had never done a house cleansing yet, okay? Yeah. So I read up on it, I brought some holy water. I brought some olive oil to anoint the rooms and whatnot. And her roommate had said that every time a new person would move in with her, there was paranormal activity in the house or in the bedroom. And books would fly off the shelves, kitchenware would fall on the floor. And she said they found a journal in the shed that had a suicide note in it. And so I performed an ITC session with my digital recorder and heard a spirit say his name was Jeremy, okay? And I heard this in real time. So I told the others present what I had heard in my earbuds, but I hadn't processed the file yet, okay? So I was going to bring it home to process it. So then we took, I had a detuned PSB-7 spirit box that was made by Gary Galka. And we went into the shed in the back of the house. And I proceeded to ask Jeremy about his suicide. Now, Shane Mears, that was my niece's husband at the time. His speech and my speech is in yellow on this video that Todd's going to play. And the white, the responses are from the spirits are in white. And you'll note that after the spirit says Jeremy during the session, okay? And when he says Jeremy, Shane, Susan's husband, he runs out from the shed and goes upstairs to tell Susan what he had just heard, okay? Wow. Okay, so when he tells Susan, and then when he returns, okay, and I crack up laughing after Shane leaves. I said, yes, he's gone. And the spirit comes on and says, ran away. I said, yeah, he ran away. Okay. So when Shane comes back, into the shed after he went upstairs, the spirit comes onto the spirit box and says, how's Susan? Because he just talked to his wife, Susan. That's at the end of the video. How's Susan?
There's some intelligence for you, folks. Here, we're going to play this for you now. It's a couple minutes long. Check it out, folks.
What was the note here? They found a note saying you killed yourself. Suicide note.
Did you follow through?
Why would I? Something like that.
Something like that. Something about a note.
Hey, you know it?
You know it? Yeah, we know it. We read the note. We were talking to you. What'd you do? Did you do it to yourself?
Jeremy. Jeremy, why'd you do it? Jeremy.
Why don't you like Jeremy?
Jeremy, why didn't you like when I say Jeremy? Now you being quiet.
Yes, that's correct, Jeremy. Yes. You scared Shane. He's gone. Yeah, he ran away. Why'd you die? How did you die?
Allowing me.
I'm back, Jeremy.
On a comment.
Yeah, you know it.
After that.
Damn. Stanley, I mean, chills, my friend. That is
and Todd, that's a $70 PSB7 that we recorded that from. Isn't that amazing?
it is incredible. It is incredible. And that's intelligent responses. You're not going to find those kinds of words randomly on any radio stations, folks.
Not in real time like that.
And and I know it's tough. It's hard for a lot of people to swallow. It was hard for me to swallow, but swallow it. I promise you, it's gonna be okay if you swallow it and learn from it, absorb it, live it, then go unlearn it and teach somebody else what you learned and the mistakes you made. Because to get captures like that, Stanley, I mean,
you just gotta speak to them like they're real people, because actually they are. They're just in another room right next to you, but you can't get into it, but you can talk through the walls.
Absolutely. And I've fallen into that terrible robot trap. What is your name? Where are you from? What is your favorite color? How old are you? I've fallen into that trap, and I've become more animated now. I speak to them as if they're standing right in front of me, and I look right at them eye to eye as wherever I feel their eyes are. And because I keep my eyes open during these sessions, I recommend you folks do as well.
I'm waiting to see my first ghost. I've heard them a lot, but I haven't seen them yet.
It's coming, Stanley. It's coming, man. It's coming. Oh man, it's worth the wait. I promise you that. They do scare the hell out of you though. But with these captures, these are this is ITC, folks. Just to give you guys this is ITC, okay? The ghost box is an ITC device, instrumental transcommunication, just like Stanley explained earlier. Now, with these, as you heard with the first one, and we're going to roll into the next one here, but as the first one, you hear the difference. Now, when you listen to an EVP, normally you have a grainy sound behind it, or a digital sound, even from a digital recorder perhaps, but it just sounds different. And remember, an EVP is captured after the fact. This is captured in real time. So that's the big difference between the two right there. Other than that, they love each other. They're yin and yang. Now, the second one we got here, come see that. This perform on an IR video while staying in the roost at the Woodland Plantation.
Yeah. Okay. I set up. I got up at 5:20 a.m. in the morning. I used to stay there when I go down to Venice for work. Okay, and it's a bed and breakfast. So I could spend the night. I get there in the evening. Okay, they'd have a supper. They actually had a church for their restaurant that they had brought from Sulphur, Louisiana, about 10 miles down the road. They had moved the entire church onto their property and made it a restaurant, so they could serve supper the night before when you stayed there, and in the morning they would serve you breakfast, or bed and breakfast. Okay, so I had gotten up at 5:20 in the morning. Okay, to go ahead and get ready for breakfast. And I set up the camera to point at the corner of the ceiling, okay, in the room where I was staying at, because I thought that orbs would travel along the meeting point of the wall and the ceiling, okay? And I had pointed it to the corner of the room. And in the video, you see the top of my head, and then you're going to hear a voice, a disembodied voice that says, I call them up from hell myself. Come see that, okay?
Whoa.
Now the slaves that Jean Lafitte raided from the slave ships and brought to Woodland for eventual sale in New Orleans, they came from West Africa and Haiti, okay? So these slaves brought their religion and voodoo with them to that plantation. And so I always question this. Was this a voodoo Vodun? I said, like a priestess, a Vodun is a priestess, a voodoo priestess, telling me to come and see what she could conjure up from her ritual fire? Was it a residual voice from the past alerting another slave, which she as a voodoo practitioner can do? It's a very creepy capture, and I was amazed when I discovered it after downloading the video to my computer from my camera. And mind you,
Yeah.
there was not another woman in that room with me because my wife would kill me. Okay? Now, this is a pure disembodied voice on a video, okay?
All right, folks, let's check it out. And then we're going to get the comments out. We got some comments rolling in there. And I do apologize for that. I can't see the comments at the moment. I'm on another screen looking at the videos here. So I'll get to those comments here in just a minute, folks. But here you go. Let's check this out.
Exactly. That's my reaction when I first heard it. And they go, where
Whoa.
did that come from?
You can hear everything, the accent, the
a woman. It's a woman. And they're like, oh my God.
That's incredible right there. That is incredible. Let's see what folks are saying here. Holy cow. We've got a lot of wows. Yeah, there's oh, have a good night, Sandy. Yeah, there's they're coming in. But with that capture, you know, would you feel that's more residual or intelligent? Because is that something?
It must have been residual, is what I'm thinking, because of the fact that I wasn't planning to ask any questions or whatnot. I was looking for orbs, okay, and I had an infrared camera. I was kind of new. I think my wife had given it to me for Christmas or early Christmas, okay.
Yeah.
And so I was trying it out. I was just trying to look for orbs, okay. And then I get a voice over there, and it's like, oh my goodness gracious.
That was incredible. That was incredible. Now, this third one we got here, it's the Cola Embryon Stay Play.
Yeah. Yeah, this was captured on November 13th, 2013. And my wife and I, we were on vacation, okay? And this was at the Lighthouse Park. It's an East End Grand Cayman. And Barbara, my wife, she had a freaky experience. So she was standing up on the top by the wall, looking down at some graves next to a monument. Okay, all of a sudden, her left foot sank into the dirt, and she said it bubbled like something was under her foot trying to come up to get her. Okay, and she came to me as I was recording by the old lighthouse, and she was all freaked out and told me what had happened. And so 3 days later, we went back to take some pictures. And at the end, and I took some pictures of where she was standing, and her foot had stepped into like a hole, the hole that was left where her foot just sank. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I went ahead and I did a spirit box section. We went to take some pictures, and at the end of a spirit box section, as I was shutting down the camera, I captured this disembodied voice on the camera. And it was a Kodak 10-13, okay, digital camera. And he said that his name was Cola Embryon. And he said, and in reverse speech, he said to stay, play with me, don't walk down. And I was wondering if he had anything to do with the earth moving beneath Barbara's feet. And so this was one of the several paranormal experiences we had on that island. That island was just so haunted. And so after this, I want you to play that. I had sent a recording. Okay, I had taken actually what he first says is, "I am Cola Embryon here." Okay, and then I reversed that speech, and that's where he says, "Stay, play with me, don't walk down." Okay, so I recorded myself saying, "I am Cola Embryon here," and then when I reversed the speech, it's just gibberish. And that was just an example of how they can imprint a waveform onto your device. And when you reverse the speech, they can say something intelligent, and it would, if you said it, it wouldn't be because of the waveform.
It's mind blowing. And you know, that could be so many things. You know, I know in this dimension where we are now, we have to use sound vibrations to communicate. I think they communicate here. I don't think they use here. I think they communicate here. And something.
Consciousness must have a different waveform from the way air produces the waveform.
Bingo. Yes. Well said. And to have that, we're getting closer. I'm afraid that we are getting closer. The real-time communication is real time, folks. It is. I know it does get confusing out there with the different methods and different ways of doing it and so forth. But find one that works for you. Stick with it. Learn it, and develop it, and share it by all means.
I think it has a lot to do with like Alyssa that you had last week.
Yes,
where
sir.
she's using her consciousness, okay, to get animals to communicate like animal consciousness, okay, and things like that. I mean,
it's mind blowing.
Yeah,
it is. It's a mystery. It's a mystery what the mind can do, and all of this may come down to what the human mind can do, and it may give a whole new definition to common sense, because this seems to be a sense that we can't tap. That most of us, I mean, well. Let me rephrase that. I probably choose not to. I know I'm a little wiggity, but I choose not to for a lot of reasons because I don't want to be bothered. the most part is, you know, I'm in tune with. I try to keep myself grounded. I know my Sherry keeps me grounded, but there's other ways to do it. And you know, before we get into some more of these clips, I wanted to ask you about, you know, we talked about protecting yourself, how important it is before an investigation, of course. What about your state of mind when you go? How should one, or I should rephrase that because you're Stanley. How does one calm themselves and open their mind before an investigation? What's the best ways to do it?
The best way to do it is just to have a positive attitude, you know, and a lot of it might have to do with your attitude when you're doing the session, okay, and your consciousness on what you're expecting to achieve in that session, okay. So if you might be having some thoughts that are being projected out there on that astral plane, where a spirit's going to attach to it and say, oh, I can respond to this with him right now because he has the same sort of vibration or synchronicity across dimensions with me, where I can communicate with whatever he's using as, you know, his method.
The vibe is real. The vibe is real. You know, the connection. And that's what I don't think, Stanley, a lot of people understand is the connections you make with these investigations you do. I mean, I don't recommend just going to a place, especially a residence or something, just one time and saying, you're good. No, you know, revisit that place several times. Get to know the environment. Get to know the spirits within. Get to know the haunting. And then
I had
you can
I
properly
had a I
research.
had a nephew. I had a nephew. Okay, and like I said, I don't do spiritual cleansings at houses. I've only done them a couple of times in my experience for 15 years. I've only done maybe two. Okay,
Yeah.
my nephew. I didn't know this. I was watching this video on Facebook. Okay, and then I find out that it was my nephew's house, and they had an investigative team come from New Orleans, okay? And they did an investigation, but they didn't do a house cleansing, okay? So only thing they did was they stirred up the spirit there, okay? So my nephew called me, okay, and said, and he realized what I was doing, what I could do, and he says, "Can you come help us out because my child is still seeing these ghosts," okay? And I said, okay. So I went ahead and I went in and I looked up Father Gabriel Amorth, who used to be the exorcist for the Vatican, okay?
Mhm.
And I read I got one of his books, okay? And they had what's called a prayer of deliverance. So I went there. I was going there to bless the house and to anoint the rooms and whatnot. And I actually recorded there, and I'll put one of the recordings on the website, okay? But the thing
Yeah.
is that before I got there, Todd, now they have their front door is in their garage to their house. You have to go through their garage. Their garage was closed at the time when I was on my way over there. My nephew said that his front door slammed open, okay, against the wall and slammed itself shut right before I got there.
Whoa.
Yes. That was really, I mean, I had brought prayers for deliverance. I blessed the house. I actually did some recordings there. I have one that I'm going to put on the website. That's just going to blow your mind because they talk about the Virgin Mary. Okay. But I went in there. I did prayers for deliverance. They had one of their friends was over there. We held hands. We did the prayer together. It cleansed the house. They didn't have no more paranormal, events that happened there with their child seeing the ghost and actually poltergeist activity with the slamming door right before I got there.
And to do something like that takes such a force. Now, keep in mind, what Stanley's talking about, folks, is something that is more than likely demonic, something you don't want to mess with.
That's Johnny Zappa's stuff right there.
Yeah, that is Johnny Zappa's stuff right there, period. That is the man with the plan, period, the Godfather himself. Now, messing with something like this, folks, if you go out there and you're recording and you come across something, that's why I highly recommend you take some courses to know what to listen to, know what to look for. If you go out there and you capture something that's growl and it says, "Get out," that could just be somebody malevolent. However, listen and look for other signs and smells in the area and if you come across something that you feel like you can't deal with, refer it. Don't just leave those poor people stranded there. Refer it out to a demonologist. There are plenty of exorcists around. There are plenty of people that you can get these people, your clients, some help. So make sure you do that. Don't just leave them in the dust like that, because some of these things are very scary, aren't they, Stanley? I mean, it's terrifying.
They're real, and if you go into, and if you follow the paranormal communities and whatnot, you'll find that right now the Catholic Church has seen an uptick in paranormal activity. That's why they're trying to train more priests to become exorcists so that they can actually go out there and get rid of these demonic forces that exist in the world today.
And, and I'm not saying everything is one, neither is Stanley. No, you have to know the differences. You have to look for the signs, folks. That is your part of, that is your role, your job as a paranormal investigator is to investigate these things, not just to say, "Yeah, that's a demon, Frank." No, it's not that simple. It really isn't that simple. And do your homework. It's worth it. I promise you. And absolutely, Vonnie, know when to leave too.
That's my
Know-
friend.
know
She actually used to
when
be my
leave, too.
secretary when I was working before I retired. That's my secretary right there.
Very cool right there. And yes, know when to leave. Know when you've had enough. Know when. Oh my goodness, know when to leave. That's probably the best advice we've had all night, Stanley. Because some people like myself back in the day when I was younger and stupid. I've done some dumb things in the field, folks. So you don't have to. Okay. Do not charge the Sally House with static electricity and then expect to enter inside and have a peaceful EVP session. Know when you did know when you did wrong and know when to step back across the
That's
street.
when you over woo-wooed.
Holy cow. Oh, I'll never forget that. But there's so many fun things. Now, we've got a few more of these, and I want to give a big shout out to my buddy, Mr. Brian Rigsby. Now, he drives for a company called Napa. It's an amazing company. And he's just a good dude. I see him at work. He's one of the truckers that comes in. He's a great guy. So, hey, Brian, great to see you, my friend. And nope, not working tomorrow. I've got the next 2 days off. I won't be back till Sunday. So hopefully see you after church. It'll be a fun time. No, but getting to some of these recordings here. Now, where we left off, Stanley.
Cola Embry.
Where we left off, because this is
we were at the lighthouse in Grand Cayman. And my wife had her foot sink into the ground. And this voice came on the camera.
And this is the number 3. Okay. Right here. Here we go. Now we're back on track, Stanley. Here we go. Whoa, that's pretty intense.
Yeah,
that's pretty intense. And those of you listening on the podcast, if you do want to see the visuals of that, which are pretty cool, you could just check it out on YouTube, Facebook. You just search EVP Explorations. You can watch the show too. Now, I mean, that was pretty damn cool, Stanley. We've got a few more of these here. And next we're getting into, where is it?
Colonel Lafitte.
Okay. Yes, sir. There it is. It's at the top. That's why I couldn't. It doesn't put them in order. When I put them in here and upload them, it doesn't put them in numerical order.
That's cool.
Yeah, I emailed him about it.
Sent them to Mark. Okay. Okay. This is an EV. This is pure EVP now, folks, and this clear as can be. Okay. And this was in the Pirates Caves. It's in Boddentown. It's on Grand Cayman, and this was on November 14th, 2013. Okay, while I was in the caves with my wife, Barbara, I captured this most amazing EVP. When I asked if there were any pirates, okay, a clear voice replied, "It's Colonel Lafitte." And the amazing part is that the reverse speech states that he's been arrested. And the creepy part about this place is there's a makeshift grave. We're underground in a cave. Okay, there was nobody else on the site. Okay, there's a front, and in front there's like a receiving area with a store, a built-in store, and then you go back in the back, and there's actually like a little zoo, like a petting zoo, not a petting zoo, but with cages of some animals from the island there, and then there's some steps that descend into the cave. Okay, and actually in the cave there's bats. There were actual bats. Yeah,
fun times. Bats. Yeah.
Now, okay. Now they had makeshift bones. They had bones on top of near the skull down there. Okay, there was a skull, like a makeshift grave down there. Okay, and they had bones on top of this makeshift grave. And the clerk later on at the ticket counter told me that the bones were real. Okay. And after Hurricane Ivan, I think this Hurricane Ivan was like in 2000, 2001 or something like that. There was a church with a graveyard across the street. Actually, Barbara and me had visited this church and graveyard before we went into the Pirates Caves. Okay. And they said that during Hurricane Ivan, the island had flooded and the graves had popped up out of the ground and the caskets had popped open. And the bones from across the street had floated across the street onto their property. Okay.
Oh no.
Her uncle, this is the clerk, she was it was the owner's niece, and she said that her uncle had gathered the bones and placed them on his display down in the caves. Okay. Isn't that something? I can't believe that. Oh my God.
Whoa.
And that's an actual picture of the grave with the skull on it that I've overlaid the EVP on top of.
Holy cow.
Now remember, it's forward and reverse speech that you're going to be hearing. And this is Grand Cayman, which was a British colony. Notice the British accent.
Check it out, folks. Here it is. Let us know in the comments what you think.
You're a pirate. Tell me your name.
Yeah, I gotta hear this again. I gotta hear this again. All right, folks, we're gonna hear this again.
You're a pirate. Tell me your name.
Boom. You can hear that accent, and that is something I want to discuss real quick before we go on to the next. Is that accent? Everybody thinks, okay, you're going to capture an EVP. It's going to speak English every single time. And this right here is, sure, it's speaking English, but you can hear it is of an English descent. So
right, it's a British colony. You know?
Absolutely. Other languages are just as common, folks. Just as common. I mean, listen, just Google them. You can hear them. There's some of them. Just be careful what you listen to. Oh my goodness, be careful what you listen to out there. There's a lot. There's a lot of auto-generated stuff too, but these are genuine. Now, as you just heard, that was an EVP capture. So, like we were talking before, for those of you folks out there just getting into this, the differences in the sound alone. You have the backdrop. You can hear that with the EVP. You can hear the background noise. The ITC is real time again. So remember, that's real time, and it's unknown as to what or how either of these devices capture the voices and things. So that's what Stanley and I have been talking about tonight. And you guys,
that was your favorite. That was pure EVP. I just pushed the record button on that RT EVP recorder. No radio stream. Pure EVP. And it's just like they were standing there in the cave with
right
me.
There. Right there. Right
and I
there.
didn't hear nothing at the time. Okay. I was actually on the plane coming back from Grand Cayman, processing it, with a long plane ride. And I heard this with my earbuds after I had downloaded it into Audacity, processing it. And they're going, holy cow, what a pure EVP.
It is. I mean, you can't get any more pure than that. Less is more. And I've always preached that less is more in this field. And I know you agree. Because you can really taint these folks if you overwork them, if you overcorrect them. Don't do that. It's not worth it. Leave them as raw as possible. And if it's not clear, keep trying. You'll get one. I promise. I promise you will. And when you do, it'll be all the much better.
And it doesn't matter what country you're in. You might be in Greece where they just speak Greek, but if you speak English, they will talk to you in English. They will talk to you in the language. It's like
it's incredible.
Consciousness is out there, and they know the language that you speak.
And that is what the connection is, and that's why I think a lot of it's here, and we just haven't tapped into that resource yet. Maybe one day, but we haven't tapped into that resource yet. How we may be able to fly, I don't know. Who knows, Stanley? But that'd be great.
There's yogis that levitate.
See, I mean, there's certain people that can tap certain parts of their brain, and this field is a ride, folks. It's an amazing ride, and the community is a beautiful community. It really is. Just way through the bull, and you'll be okay. Avoid the drama. You'll be all right. Do your thing. Remember, the
Have
focus.
fun.
Yes.
Have fun.
You must have fun. You know, be serious when you have to be, of course, but have fun.
Right.
And just the community, filter out what you need to filter out to form a good foundation. Go into this strong. Don't go into this second guessing yourself all the time. Go into this strong. Educate yourself. There's plenty of stuff out there to find. Yeah, you know, these days. Back to comparative when we started, Stanley, it was terrible. Dial up. I mean, email. That's all we had. We didn't have all these different groups and so many outlets to learn about electronic voice phenomenon and ITC and just the paranormal in general and how widespread
Right,
it is.
all in one place. You don't have to go in the library and pick out different books to try to learn something. And you're doing just a wonderful job putting it all in one place.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of fun doing that. A lot of fun doing that, folks. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And there's a few more files here. I mean, it's the bottom of the hour and we have no more breaks, no more interruptions. And we've, there it is. We've got the next one here. We are more than spirits here.
Okay.
Set this one up.
This is the other one that I'm going to tell you about, where there's something not right happening in my house. Okay. On March 7th, this is 2020. This is right after COVID had begun. Okay. My brother had died from cancer in January. Okay. And so this is related to me contacting him. Okay. On Saturday, March 7th, 2020, I was going to groom my miniature poodle, Kane, on the kitchen floor. Like I usually do it in front of the stove and the microwave. Okay, for some reason, I decided that it wasn't a good day to do that. I picked up the electric clipper after I'd taken it out, and I went and I sat in the living room. All of a sudden, there's a big crash in the kitchen, and needless to say, where I would have been sitting on the floor with Kane, the microwave and the attached cabinets had come crashing to the floor where I would have been sitting with my dog.
Damn.
The next day, I performed an EVP session with my RT EVP recorder. This is pure EVP, to contact my deceased brother, Peter, who had died from cancer 2 months prior. Okay, when I asked if there were any spirits here, a male voice said, "We are more than spirits here." Now, Alexander McCrae, I had posted a video about him on EVP Explorations just recently. He's the pioneer of EVP.
Yes.
Alexander McCrae, I had posted something about this incident, and he contacted me on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, and told me, "Send me that EVP, I'll process it for you." I thought, wow, okay, cool, man.
Whoa.
Got an expert in the field that's going to.
Whoa, yeah.
He processed it, and after I had asked Spirit, if there were any spirits here, they said, "We are more than spirits here." I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, I know y'all more after what happened yesterday, and I almost got my microwave falling on the floor.
Yeah, just a tad bit more there.
Just a tad bit more.
I mean, to have these things happen at this, I don't believe in coincidences.
Look, my dad told me about haunted houses. He grew up in New York City. He told me about things flying out of their kitchen cabinets onto the floor and whatnot, the haunted places, okay? But I didn't have just things fly out of my cabinets. I had the whole cabinet in a microwave falling down. And that's what I took a picture of I took a picture of this and I overlaid the EVP on top of it. That's what you're going to see.
Oh, here you go, folks.
Are there any spirits here?
Damn. She sounded upset, Stanley. She sounded pissed, almost kind of pissed. I could hear animosity in there, like they were upset. And those cabinets fell. That's
that was
somebody didn't want to be bothered.
Look, they didn't like it here. They didn't like me here. Okay, at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. I went to my office after I heard that and got my holy water and I blessed the house. Look, when you do this, when you go everywhere like I used to do and go to these different places, look, there's always a possibility something's going to attach to you and come home with you. So, like I said, if you're like me and you get into it too much and get obsessed with it, it's just like I used to be into motorcycles. I used to ride motorcycles. Okay. If you ride motorcycles, you're going to drop your motorcycle one day. That's just all there is to it. You're going to go over some sand. You're going to go over some sand, turning in an intersection, and your motorcycle is going to drop and slide out from under you or something like that. But it's going to happen if you do it too much. So just be prepared and prepare yourself and get yourself educated, like Todd says, before you get into it too deep. Arm yourself with whatever you need in order to do what you're going to do.
Absolutely. Well said, sir. Well said. And, it's the importance should be common sense, folks, but unfortunately it has to be drilled a lot of times. And there's a lot with the field. Like I said, find your niche, find where you fit, find where you land. And when you get your equipment, use your spidey senses a little bit. Open your mind up. Do you align with that recorder? Does that feel right to you when you're holding it? Use it if it does. If it doesn't, put it down. Get another one. Try that one out. Read his posts on how to do that better. I mean, there's so many, and to yield better results. And Stanley, that is exactly what happens when you go in there with a clean, good state of mind, as you yield better results like these. Maybe you're getting class C's because you're going in there and you're trying too hard. Maybe you're just, overcomplicating things a little bit, overanalyzing a little bit. Keep it simple, spin these things in your head and let them stop, then go, just keep it open. And that's when, I don't know, it's almost like you're an antenna. And somehow they come through you, or I don't know. It attracts them. Perhaps.
Just go ahead. You play in the minor leagues, and eventually you're going to be advanced to the major leagues. Okay?
Yes.
It will happen.
It will, because each file you capture is an experience. Okay, each file you capture and you process, you learn, and before you know it, you're able to upload these and watch the spectral view, and you could see an EVP before you even hear it. You will be that well. Your eyes, your ears, everything will become in tune whenever
Todd,
you're processing these.
You remember years ago Spark Analytics with Cameron?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I still talk to those two.
Do you really?
I do.
Yeah.
They're doing great. They're still together.
They were really, really intelligent and smart about looking at waveforms and knowing how to distinguish the harmonics of a waveform and know if it was EVP.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's a human vocal print, and then there's a spirit vocal print, I believe. A spirit vocal print like you captured earlier. No vocals. There's, you look at a spirit vocal print, you zoom in on that, you see the fossils, you see the vibrations, you see that being utilized. But on an EVP capture, you don't see that. You don't see the prints. You just see, emptiness, but yet fullness, because you can see the sound. You just don't know how the hell it got there. And that's when you just keep chugging forward, folks. Keep chugging forward. One of these days we'll figure it out. Now we've got a few more here. We just have a few more minutes, Stanley. I want to get to a couple more of these. These are freaking amazing, by the way. Great captures. And what we're on to Nathan Stabbed Iguana.
Okay, now this is another one from Grand Cayman. Like I said, this island was just so haunted. Okay, now this is a disembodied voice that was captured on my Kodak M1063 digital camera. This was on November 12th, 2013, in the Queen Elizabeth II Botanical Gardens in Frank Sound on Grand Cayman. Okay, now I was filming near a pond where minutes later we saw this blue iguana on the path. Okay. And I captured this disembodied voice, and the spirit said, Nathan stabbed iguana. And then in the reverse speech, he says, and now he's glad he did. Maybe they and cooked it and tasted like chicken. I don't know. You know, that's what LSU fans say about Florida Gators. You know, they taste like chicken. Okay?
Oh yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, was the spirit, was he reacting to the future event that I was going to see an iguana? But this was on my digital camera, and when I played the video later, that's when I heard it. Like I said, listen to your videos, folks, because you might hear a disembodied voice.
Oh, I'm telling you, folks. Listen to the man. He gives sound advice. Check this out. Let us know what you think. I even heard freaking sarcasm in that. I mean that was a good capture. I could hear the sarcasm. And that's one where I would sit here and I'm weighing. I'd have to load it up, of course, and look at it. I mean, is this residual? Is this intelligent? You know, again, what a smart ass. I mean, that's just good.
Smart ass spirit, huh?
Yeah. And as in life, as in death, maybe that transitions over, like everybody says or thinks the theories behind it. Perhaps that's it. And he was just, he was like that in life. You'll get fun ones like that too, folks. You'll get some that are a little jaunting and give you chills, but you'll get some fun ones like that. I mean, people are people, as in life, as in death, Stanley. People are people.
Right.
And then, my buddy Richard. How you doing, Richard Ricardo? Oh, I love that dude. And oh my goodness, Mr. Keith J. Clark join us. How you doing, Keith? And Bonnie's saying here, that was so clear. That was so clear, Stanley. And it was. And a lot of these that you capture, they can, or it's with little work, a good EVP with little work. You want those to be as clear as possible. But, like I said, don't go in there and dig around, folks, and pull out stuff that, and like Stanley said earlier, get the hell in there and zoom in and discover. A signal is a signal. It's if it has to latch on somewhere, it's going to find somewhere to latch on. Get in there and find it. You never know. And we've got the next one here. I love this title. I don't feel welcome, Cajun.
Wait, okay. This should be good. Actually, the Cajun's identifying something in my files for me. Okay, I don't feel welcome. That's really the title of it. Okay. Now, February the 14th, 2012, I stayed overnight in the captain's quarters at the Woodland Plantation. Okay, that's where I'm saying. I said that's the most haunted house, really.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I performed an ambient. When I say ambient, I'm meaning no radio sweep. This was pure EVP, okay? And I captured this Class A EVP. It's one of the best EVPs I've ever recorded, okay? Anywhere. I asked Bradish Johnson, the former owner, to make his presence known. And the spirit response is very compelling and relative to the history of the house. But this is since the pirate John Lafitte used to deal with slaves, okay, in the 4 on-site dormitories, okay. Mm-hmm. Now, instead of being the owner that's responding, that I thought initially, okay, I think that it was really the overseer, okay, Decker, the overseer named Decker that resided at that plantation and abused the slaves. Okay.
The guy you were talking about
And
earlier. Absolutely. I
yeah,
remember
okay.
that. I remember
And when
that.
I asked, make your presence known. Okay, this is a 15 syllable. This is words, and he speaks 15 syllables across this intelligent EVP. Okay, I've never heard anybody on any program anywhere since I've been doing this capture an EVP of 15 syllables. Okay,
No.
now and he says
Unheard
this.
of.
He says, I don't feel I'm welcome here. I feel like they're going to kill me. Listen
15
to
syllables.
this.
15
Oh,
syllables, folks. Now, that is unheard of in this field. That is unheard of. This is a rare capture. And of course, you're hearing it here, folks. EVP Explorations. Thank you, Stanley. This is a rare capture. This is one of Stanley's finest. Check it out. Let us know what you think.
Make your presence known.
Oh, I gotta hear that again. That sounded bone chilling.
Make your presence known.
Man. Oh, that hits home.
and that gruff voice, you know.
Those
EVPs that come over like that. Yeah.
Struggling, and it was almost as if, I mean, that I would feel as intelligent, of course, but you can feel, you can hear how that spirit feels. It's almost as if he's congested, something. But
yeah, right.
That's powerful, Stanley.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's Decker. I have a video and it's named Decker. That's the one that I told you about where I'd use 3 different devices and I put it all together in a video where the slaves are talking about Decker. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to post that on the website and you can listen to it. And then you can come back and listen to that and you can say that, hey, that's Decker that's talking to Stan and that EVP. And he's scared they're going to kill him because they want to kill him.
Yep. That's eerie. That's eerie. And Stanley, of course, saying here, definitely intelligent. Absolutely. I agree, Stanley. How you doing, Laura? Great to see you. Thanks for stopping by. And Stanley, we've got a couple more. We ran out of time here. We're running low. And I want to, thank you. My goodness, thank you. And this is not going to be your last visit on the show. You will be back here sooner than later, sir.
Well, Todd, when we first got together and we used to do interviews, you used to interview me. I'd come on your show if somebody canceled and talk with you. Okay?
Every time, my friend.
I only had 200 videos, a little bit over that was in my book. Okay. And now I have 700 videos on my YouTube page. So that means I've done 500 since we used to talk together.
Wow.
On your Haunted Voices radio.
Look at that freaking content, man. That is incredible, Stanley.
I'll be more than happy to come visit you again.
Oh,
I have a lot that I can show you.
You have a lot you can share. You have a lot to teach others, my friend. You are a wealth of information. You are a scholar in this field. You're an asset to the community. Don't you change a thing. I've learned so much, and I want to thank you for that. You've taught me so much over the years, and I can't appreciate it enough. I mean, it's well, damn it, Stanley, it's made me a better person. It's put me more in tune with myself.
Well, thank you.
Because
I'm happy
you
really
you've always been good with that, with my posts as well. If you'll catch me on a bad day. You'll catch me on a bad day and you'll call me out on that. You'll put me right back on track. And for that, I thank you.
You're welcome.
That is true. That is true, my friend. And so just hang backstage if you would one moment, Stanley. I'm going to wrap up and then I want to talk to you here for a second. Okay.
Okay. Go Tigers.
Thank you, Stanley. And there he was, Mr. Stanley Jolet. And, you know, folks, there was a lot that happened on tonight's show, and a lot of it can be real confusing to some of you folks. Get the basics down. Get those down first. Get out there, find a resource. It doesn't have to be us. It can be somebody. Find somebody credible. Find somebody that knows what they're talking about, not just blowing smoke. See, this stuff is nothing to play with. You can come across something that it'll take you down. I've seen it happen several times. So be aware, be educated, get out there and try. Most importantly, try. Most importantly, try. And coming up here next week, we've got Katie B. Kintner. She's going to be joining us, followed by Ron and Lourdes Jacovetti. And, of course, Lourdes Gonzalez. They're going to be joining us on May 29th. That's going to be a phenomenal show as well. There's so much we have coming up here for you. And I want to take a moment to thank our amazing producer, Mr. Mark Davies. This guy, he is getting some phenomenal guests. We've got Nicole Strickland coming back as well. She's coming next month. There's just so many great guests coming up here, so many great topics we're going to share. And you can follow everything along right there on the website, evpexplorations.com. You can also watch the show live from the website now. A lot of you folks wanted that. You got it. You're using it. I thank you for that. You're hanging out on the website watching the show live. That's pretty cool. And technology's come a long way. Let's use it. Let's use it for the good. Let's use it for the good this time. Now, you guys be sure and have a great weekend. I know I'm going to have a great few days off. It's going to be amazing. Going to spend some time with my Sherry. But you guys stay safe. If you're doing any investigations out there, do them well. Document. Most of all, respect people. Just respect. All right. Have a great weekend, folks. All of us here at EVP Explorations and the Sacred Spiral Network wish you that. Take care.